Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Lisa Opal. Now close the door and tune out the noise because we're about to get deep and dirty. Hello and good morning, Madelaine. How are you?
Hello.
Is a question I'm not really going to ask you.
Okay. I heard the question and I was like, oh, wait.
Oh, wait a minute, because everybody who's listening right now, I decided this morning that the question, how are you doing, is a little too loaded nowadays. And so I've decided that I'm going to ask my wonderful guest, Madelaine Thomas, this morning, what is something that's put a smile on your face recently?
We haven't had any tech issues today, so maybe I've just cursed it. However, that's a nice little easy morning for me today, and your side as well. Doesn't seem to be any tech issues. So that's a nice one. Look at us go.
You know,
yeah, it's difficult because, like, how are you doing? The entire world is collapsing around us, and we're watching it on our screens. We are not okay. I'm fine. How are you?
Exactly. And so I don't want to have those conversations anymore. And I mean, that is literally why you're invited into my podcast today, because we're going to be talking about stuff that is burning, things that are happening in the world, in the privacy and intimacy of our homes, our phones, our computers at the moment, which is not okay. And before we dive in, would you like to introduce yourself for everybody listening?
I mean, I don't want to, but I know I've got it.
You can give me 3 emojis.
Yeah, I am so nervous and so anxious, but I'm also at the stage in building this thing that I will go on to talk about that I kind of just got to. I've got to. So hi, I am Madelaine, and I have founded Image Angel, but you may know me from such movies as
I love that.
Insert pornography name here.
I love that. You are known as, for everybody, right? So for everybody listening, just so you know where we're at the moment, I met Madelaine this year at the Sex Tex conference in Berlin, and I saw her on stage. You were in panel talks, weren't you? You yourself were a guest, and I was blown away, first of all, by your eloquency, I have to say, the way you spoke about what we're talking about today, and we're making it very exciting for everybody listening, eh? And second of all, when I then saw all the other work you're doing. So for everybody that doesn't know, yes, Madelaine works in the adult industry, I think is the correct description for it. Yes. And if you want to find her, she's on Instagram. Everything is in the show notes. I thoroughly recommend following her. It is absolutely wonderful to see all your work, everything, all the passion you're putting into everything you put out there. But today we're talking about something that's even more important than all those fun things. Fill us in, Image Angel, and particularly you will be hearing the letters NCII today. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, NCII, it's just another acronym, isn't it? And we're probably just glazing over at the name of it, but it actually stands for Non-Consensual Intimate Image. And we always tend to put abuse at the end of it because something could be a NCII, but it's generally spoken about in terms of someone is experiencing NCII, so non-consensual intimate image abuse. And that is when someone has taken an image of you, be that a video, a still, a screenshot, or even a screenshot of a conversation that you've had between someone. They're using digital representations of you or what you have said in a way that harms or hurts you. And some people may know it as revenge porn, but we're sort of moving away from that in the same way we're moving away from the words child pornography, because it is impossible to have child pornography. It's non-consensual intimate images of children or child, they call it CSAM. I can't remember the acronym one for that. There's so many.
Yeah. But, I'll put it in the notes.
We don't call it revenge porn anymore because it implies that there is a personal vendetta or sort of mutual blame and a bit of he said, she said around it. And it just erases the whole systemic kind of gendered violence that comes with NCII. It's not revenge and it's not porn. It is a harm.
Oh my goodness. That is a complete reframing of it as well. What are the kinds of things that are happening out there? What are people doing explicitly? How are they changing the images? What's going on?
Well, I mean, it could be anything from, boy meets girl, boy girl share number, boy girl have a conversation online, and then one of those people uses photos of their conversation or photos of themselves in an intimate position, or maybe sending a nude or something like that, to do something harmful. So whether that's to sort of extort money, or to coerce, or to scare that other person. So whichever way it is, it's causing a harm. So I'm seeing it in the pornography space around people non-consensually sharing content, which we always knew as leaks, as OnlyFans leaks, or piracy and things like that. And we've seen it happen so often and in such a public sphere that we almost forget that it's a crime. There's
Mm.
the thing, like, you wouldn't steal a handbag, you wouldn't steal a this, so don't rehash, or whatever it is, the CDs, don't steal a video. But we've become so numb to it. We just see it everywhere as par for the course, as just something that happens. And so I went through it too, because it is so widespread in the pornography industry, but sort of life in general. And I think we would be hard pushed to find anyone, particularly in the pornography space, who has not experienced their images being used against them, or sold without their permission, or shared without their permission. So when it comes down to having gone through it, most people in the pornography space will have gone through it. But most people in kind of young adults and teenagers who are in that experimental phase of talking to people who they fancy and sharing nudes and experiencing life in a digital way, they're also starting to experience it. So things being screenshot and shared, images that they thought were once private, then being exposed and going around the school and things like that. So I've decided I've had absolutely enough of it, absolutely enough, and it should not be just one of those things. Why should it be one of those things? So I'm making some changes around here.
Isn't it bizarre though? That example that you gave, you wouldn't steal a handbag.
No.
It's crazy to think. And it gives me goosebumps thinking right now. It was back in the days. I remember the pornos at school. They were, they were DVDs at the time, but you'd burn a copy, you'd give it to your mate, you'd say, she's a really good one. And it's illegal.
Yeah.
It is legit. And there is a massive financial consequence there as well, with everything being shared between
Yeah,
people.
absolutely. Yeah, I guess we used to think of it as, oh, it's not going to harm anyone because I'm stealing from a big conglomerate and I'm reproducing this CD or this video, whatever it may be. And, where's the harm? And perhaps you could still think that in the kind of larger things when it comes to like Hollywood, stuff like that, where a movie is ripped. But increasingly, we're seeing more content creators be smaller, kind of more in touch with their audience, which means the harm is more direct. So when someone takes something from a porn studio, but that studio is just run by one person, and that studio is just filming with sex workers and content creators, there isn't a massive legal department. There isn't a whole host of things that this person can do to have that content removed. And in the past, things used to move kind of hand to hand, slower. Right now, we're going phone to phone and device to device, and it's moving much faster, and it's spreading in a way that we can't control. And that's ingrained in our society. Like we made this happen. We built this, and now we're living in the consequences of it.
And it's interesting because it's bigger than that, isn't it? Let's get into what you have developed specifically and what you're working on, because as I interpret it at the moment, we've obviously got the industry that is suffering and individuals suffering. And I know from other podcast episodes I've recorded with people working in the industry, with producers who have said to get the money for a production, that's the first step. There are not so many investors, and you have the really big ones, and they're just doing what they always do. But the smaller ones that are changing the scene, that are becoming more inclusive, obviously the financial means aren't there. So there's a struggle happening there where if all these things are being replicated and shared and leaked and piracy, etc., obviously there's that strain. But even bigger, and perhaps this is something that followers can empathize with a lot more, is how far does that go? And like you said, boy meets girl, girl meets boy. I mean, we're looking at things. Was it Taylor Swift who had something leak that went AI and they changed it? So we're looking at much larger repercussions that you're afraid to share a photo of your boob with your boyfriend because you don't know what might come of it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think there's also a lot of sort of charitable movements in the UK that I'm seeing anyway. There's this hashtag that's it's something like hashtag don't share or something like that. So it's something really simple, but it's not don't share non-consensually, as in, you know, to the receiver, don't share this. It's actually to the sender, don't share. But in my mind, that's like saying, you know, don't do drugs, kids. And that message may sit with some and they won't, but teenage and young adult experimentation will always happen, whether that's with you know, narcotics or staying up late or looking at sites you shouldn't, or sending a nude to your partner. It's part of life now because that's how young people communicate, but it's also how adults communicate too. And it's part of our life. So to say don't do it, it's almost counterintuitive. You know, what we really should be saying is don't non-consensually share. We're educating people that if you share this, this is a crime and you may be in trouble. So there's kind of two sides to what we're talking about. That's the kind of corporate mass consumption of sharing illegal and copyrighted and pirated content. And then there's the individual one-on-one consuming and sharing imagery together. And then, you know, like the revenge porn, let's call it in marks, the revenge porn side of things. And the product I've created, it can work with all situations when it comes to sending and receiving saucy nudes, or even just private information, you know, private business information or whatever it may be. Even a product that's been developed and you're sending it out to the first people that want to see it, you want to make sure that stays within that network of people. This product will help to keep those things safe.
Mm-hmm. Now, what fascinates me with this is that it's a combination of tech that has arisen out of personal, leaning towards the kinky, the pornographic, and all this. So you have an extreme passion behind it. What about the tech side? Tell me about the how does it work? How because the passion is noticeable. You breathe it, right? It's so authentic. How is this tech side coming together? How does it work? How can we imagine this technology functioning?
I mean, it is quite bizarre that you take a porn star and you put her in a room with some techie people and then you come out with this solution. But here we are. Sometimes it takes an outsider to look in and go, wait a second, that's not right. So the current landscape is there's all sorts of places where you can go to get your content removed, or to have somebody take that person and say, hey, you know, this content needs to come down. Why have you done this? Any account that is seen to be sharing the content that is now out there can also be in trouble for redistributing. But what we can't seem to do, and what I wanted to challenge, was who's doing it? Who is doing the naughty thing, essentially? So when I experienced my content being sent out, it was a conversation between a few people. was having a conversation with, let's say it was about 4 different people, and I was sending the same images to all 4 people. And that is no different to sort of how the OnlyFans girls, let's call them, send out their messaging and stuff like that. They're sending out pictures to the same people. Some of the images that I sent months later, I was told were on a website, and I thought, oh my God, it's happened to me. This is the worst thing ever. I need to have this removed. That was my first thought. But I felt so angry that I couldn't get it removed. Fine. It's in a set. Do you know DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act? So you can apply to a website and you can say that breaches copyright and I need that to be removed. But if a website is outside of any zone that DMCA applies to, they don't have to heed your request. They can just completely ignore you. So in my brain, I'm going, okay, I cannot get that removed. I am going to deal with that, and I'm going to sit with that, and it sucks. But who the hell did this? Who is responsible? And it was one of 4 people, and I don't know who it was. I mean, I have got a pretty good idea, but even if I knew who they were, I don't have their details. I don't have their lawyer's phone number. I couldn't do anything about it. So what I wanted to do was create some kind of accountability in the chain of sending things that says, hey, you did this wrong. You can pay for this to be taken down. I'm going to take you to court. I'm going to take you through the judicial system. I'm going to take you down, just like you took me down. And that's what I did. I created this this system for doing so. But when it comes to the tech side of things, yeah, I'm slightly tech savvy, but sometimes I can't even get my webcam to work. Right? So I got in touch with someone. I got in touch with quite a few people, and I messaged and I said, look, I have this problem that I think I can solve in this way. I just need your help to make it happen. Is this real? Am I coming up with something that is completely, bogus? And I messaged loads of people from various tech kind of companies. And most people said, sorry, great idea, but I'm really too busy. But then this one person at Google was like, okay, I think this is something I can help you with. So I met up with them, and I was talking through all these kind of problems and possibilities. And they actually said, this has something to it. This technically is sound. And I'm going, okay, well, could we make it? And he lent his experience to me, and I'm forever grateful, because without him, it wouldn't have got this far. But since then, the tech has developed and has evolved, and we now outsource quite a core part of the technology to someone who is much better at it than me. And then we built on top of their system a way to integrate into content sharing platforms, in a way to then add in different types of watermarks and different kind of content markers at different stages of the journey. And so now we have the finished product, which is Image Angel. And it is an API. So a content site like, for example, OnlyFans might take this code, plug it into their system, and then whenever somebody who is a user on that platform receives an image, it is embedded with their data. And if they choose to share it, that is a crime, and it is against the platform's terms of service. Depending where they are and depending what they do with that, denotes the kind of crime it is. So it could be that it is a non-consensual distribution of private and personal imagery, and they're using it to dox and harass. Or it could be that someone has accidentally published it somewhere, thinking it was something else, and they just need a warning or something like that. Depending on what the content creator wants to happen to that image as well, that's how far we can go. So if they want to pursue kind of a civil case and have some money back to them for this person that's breached their copyright, that's possible. Or do we go down the judicial route and go down like the criminal act? It is entirely dependent on the space in which the crime has happened, but also on the appetite for risk for the person who is involved. And then there are all sorts of data and kind of personal things that we need to look out for in the transaction. But ultimately, it's ready to go, and it works, which is crazy to think. Like, I created porn, and now I'm a tech CEO. It's bizarre, but here we are.
It doesn't sound crazy to me at all, because there's a great German saying, and I'll translate it roughly, where there is passion, there's a path. And that at the end of the day, what you have created is revolutionary and it keeps people safe. What's the feedback been from people who have perhaps experienced it like you and are now seeing, oh, wow, there's somebody, our angel, who is keeping us safe at the end of the day?
Yeah, the feedback from people who have experienced NCII or having their pornography taken. And this is why I call it content misuse, because it's not always non-consensual intimate image abuse. Sometimes it's someone being a bit silly, or a bit dull or a bit stupid, or doing something that they didn't quite realize was such a sort of a bad thing. So content misuse is a good way of sort of saying that's what we're stopping here. But yeah, the people who have been through it, everyone just is like, this is amazing. I needed this when I went through the harm that I went through. And I'm like, yes, I know. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it into the systems that you're currently working in to stop it ever happening to anyone else. Because if we can just stop it from happening to just a few more people, then I've done my bit. But I want to make such a big impact that this changes the way we speak about it. Instead of saying, oh, you know what, it just happens, what are you going to do, you're going to put something out on the internet, everyone's going to spread it, it just happens. Why? I want to stop that from being the way that it just is, because it's wrong, and I'm going to stop it.
Yes. Hell yes. Honestly, it makes me think that one day, in the same way that WhatsApp has a one-time photo function, which, oh my God, then your mate sat next to you and he takes a photo of that one-time photo on his phone and hey presto, you've got the photo.
Exactly.
It feels like your tech can be integrated in these massive platforms, because at the end of the day, even if I'm sending a one-time photo, I know enough people who have their work phone, who have their other phone, and what's going to stop them from taking another photo? So that it sounds like the beginning of something very, very big rolling out before you right now.
And it has to be big so that it works, because what we want to create is one centralized place where if someone has been the harm, has received this kind of harm, they can come to one place. So they go to their local charity, whatever charity they want to, whether that's sort of Survivors UK, or they go to the Revenge Porn Helpline. They go to these charities to take the initial call, and the charity goes, hey, how can we help you? What's the best thing that's for you? What do you need? And then that charity contact us and they go, we think this may have been covered by Image Angel. So every single charity across the world is feeding into us saying, do you have any data within this image? So whoever that victim calls, they are connected into our system, and we can feed back out that information and say, yes, this was protected by Image Angel. We can take it from here. We can help you. And take the steps to retribution and holding people accountable for the harm that they've done.
And it also feels like it might, beyond that, help minimize that abuse in general online, because if these people are also being caught out for smaller things, you might be catching people out who are doing bigger things. So the catalog of people who might be caught early on could be substantial.
Yeah, I think when we play in and work in the space of anonymity, it can be wonderfully freeing, but there's also opening up for harm. So that's what we've done. We've been determined enough to build what didn't exist, and we've put in that kind of harm blocker to say, you can view this image, you can enjoy it, you can save it to your phone if you wish. But as soon as that goes beyond the realms of where it was initially sent for, as in that personal view, that consumption, even if you've bought it, even if it is a commercial exchange of image for money, as soon as it goes beyond that, that trust has gone and that chain has been broken, and therefore you are now accountable. and it is inbuilt into that image. It's not in the metadata. It's not saved in a visual way that you can see it. This is read by computer program only. So you won't even know that the image contains Image Angel. I mean, you will know because we'll let you know. But if you're looking at an image and you're sharing a non-consensual image, you are sharing some serious trouble. And you're going to get yourself in trouble. And it's time that platforms take it seriously. And you know what? They want to take it seriously. I was in Berlin. Where was I? No, I was in Amsterdam. Oh my God, my brain. I was in Amsterdam last week, and we had some of the most well-known platforms for watching and consuming pornography in the world contacted me directly and said, I've been trying to find you. Your stuff is amazing and we want it on your platform. Like, this is happening. It's so cool.
Yes. Hell yes. Congratulations. Oh my God. Yeah. I think we underestimate women in general because we manage to bring so many different things to the table. And when you said, you know, going from this one area of expertise to an area where you didn't have the expertise, I don't believe in that anymore. I believe that, you know, what you've been doing, you know, the people that work with you, for you, underneath you, you know this, and you know the kind of things that can happen. And that is the best place for something like that to stem from. So fully deserved, and all the calls that you're getting. And this is why I approached you too, because this is important, it's relevant, and it needs to happen really, really fast. What also keeps coming up for me, I'm a mum, they're young still, but the educational aspect, because you mentioned quite a few times now, you know, yes, some people will do silly things, right? And you can reprimand them and you can put them in their corner and in their place and say, you know, no, don't do that again. They'll go, oh my God, thank you. But beyond that, isn't there a massive problem at the moment with what am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do?
I think kids know right from wrong, you know, and I think they do experiment and they're going to experiment, but ultimately we as individuals do know what's right and wrong. But also I think it's important that we educate in a really sort of slow way, so that as youngsters are growing up, they don't do something and then are immediately carted off to jail. You know, it's about disrupting those early behaviors and going, no, we don't do this. We don't do this. So as adults now, we're consuming all these images and we're sending and we're sharing. When that stops, and when the boys club, and I say the boys club in a really kind of generalized way, because it is more often than not sort of cis men who perpetrate this kind of harm. When this boys club stops sending these nudes and saying, hey, check this out, check that out, because it's more at risk to them, then we can start to influence and say, of course, this is not how we do it. And then sons can look at their fathers and go, okay, he's not doing that, so I don't do that. And we learn, and it slowly becomes this trickle down effect. What we need to happen is, and I don't want this to happen, although this is the thing that needs to happen, we need somebody to go through this. And that's awful, but we need a case where this happens and it publicly happens, that so-and-so shared an image, and because it had Image Angel in it, we could trace who it was, we could find out who they are, and we could get, you know, compensation for that person because they have you know, had their copyright gone against, or non-consensual intimate image abuse, and we went down the judicial system and that person is now facing, you know, a criminal warning or whatever it may be. And I think it's really important. I want to stress, I don't want to add more time and admin to police forces. I really don't. And that's why it's so important that we just give that kind of nudge to say, probably shouldn't do this. You know, your data is involved in this image now. This is totally tied and associated to you. Let's not do that. So let's just not. That kind of quiet deterrence and that subtle, shh, don't do that, is what we want. We don't want to be like logging another police case with someone because they haven't got enough money. You know, I don't want to waste anyone's time or pull from resources that aren't there. But we do need to make some kind of action. And that's also why I created this as a business instead of a charity, because there was always the option to do it as like a charitable thing. And I thought, I don't want to spend my time applying for grants to take money out of services that really need it, when actually we could be charging the platforms who facilitate this harm a kind of per user fee that goes then into this centralized pot. And then as soon as somebody needs like legal advice to take this further, we pay for that, we cover that. We hire sex workers to help platforms educate their sex workers that this system is in, that then educate the people who are using the platform. And it becomes this kind of circular economy, instead of just sort of taking money from a charity and going, here you go, there's another police case. We're going to try and go for a bit more of an ethical, holistic, helpful company, which I know sounds bizarre. How can you have a private company that is ethical? Well, with me at the helm, just watch. I'm not taking on venture capital funding. I'm not taking on any kind of funding that I know I can't guarantee their absolute win and buy-in on this as a pivotal issue to fix, not just the money that could be made.
Honestly, I mean, listening to you talk, I can't imagine there aren't people out there willing to give a large portion of money to this, and call it charity, call it a cause, call it a business, call it whatever you like. It is necessary. It is essential. And if it's too personal, no need to answer. But do you think that your experience in the adult industry and your, if I'm wrong, role, your persona, do you think that helps you in the way you're setting up your business? This is me as a fellow thespian. I studied theatre, and it is the way you present yourself, it is authentic. That's why I say roll under hesitation, because I can imagine you are authentically the way you are when you work. Exactly. And so everything, the way you explain it, it sounds like you really are the head of this, the mother of this, the absolute exactly. So it feels like it comes from such an authentic place. Is that right?
I would say my experience as a dominatrix has given me the tools to be able to succeed in business, because I'm not afraid of men. I'm not afraid of asking men for money and saying, hey, you should be an angel investor in this system. You know, you should help me out here. But also it's helped me because I've identified certain people in certain business areas, and I've said, look, you are the CEO of this gigantic company. Can I get your help? Is this how a pitch deck should look? Can I get your help? Is this what my financial forecast should contain? Because I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm asking advice of people who I know I can trust, and also I've known for years, and actually they've kind of gone on this journey with me. So all of these people who are in these positions of power, I'm going, oh, you know, that silly little project that I was doing? Well, it's actually worth 5 million now. So
booyah.
Yeah, booyah. But it's fantastic to be able to rely on the people who also helped me get this far, because the business has been completely bootstrapped. I haven't taken on any investment up till about a week ago, and that was angel investment. And I've been using my earnings from my kind of clip stores and stuff like that and sessions to help pay for the people to do the technological builds or the website development and things like that. So this is entirely bootstrapped by sex work, but for sex work too. And in doing that, the people who I've been giving kind of like, hey, look, this is the next shape of the product. Does that sort of sound right? Would that fit into a sort of workflow that you're in? They're in it too, and they're silent. They have to be silent because of the stigma that goes with, cohorting with a dominatrix. But they are silently giving me that feedback, going, this is amazing. Keep going. You've got something good here. So to have that kind of business agreement and suggestion and advice coming from those high places has been really, really helpful. But aside from that, and aside from being a little bit kind of punchy, ballsy, and not afraid to go all in, I don't know. I think it's just me.
Yeah, it looks like you're just you. I admire that. So big chapeau for doing it. Is there also a lot of pushback though?
No.
I'm the first one to praise you, glaze you, say this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Please come on my podcast. But has there been pushback? Has there been in general? I mean, the sex worker industry still has its stigma issues, society in, just in media. It's still so difficult. Even more so than pornography, I assume. How has that been for you?
Whenever I give the kind of pitch to people, I always wait for their reaction, and I want to hear the negatives. Like, come at me with the questions and come at me with your concerns, and then I know what it is I need to overcome. And as I was pitching this in the very sort of early stages, I'm kind of waiting, and I didn't hear any pushback. I just heard, that's great, this needs to happen. Wait, how much is it going to cost? Oh, okay, it's kind of cheap. Oh, okay, all right then. So any pushback I've had, I've kind of dealt with, but there's not been any pushback from the sex work community. They're like, yes, we need this. When you sign up to a website and all you can do is anonymous harm, that's it's awful. But that movement towards kind of trying to get a bit more perpetrator accountability also has happened at the same time as Ofcom in the UK, the Online Services Act in Digital Services Act in the EU. As all of this has been happening, we've kind of gone with a general rolling of the understanding of where sex work and online pornography was. We've now kind of moved on from that, and we now can see it more as a consumer area. It's a business. It is a place that deserves protections and regulations, and this is just part of those bigger talks. Whereas I think if I was to pitch this idea 10 years ago, when I first went through that harm, no way, no one is ever going to put their ID and their real name against the pornography that they're watching, and that in that time would have been totally laughed out. But as I've developed it and the law and regulation has moved in the same time, it's become, actually, why shouldn't that be the baseline for safety? Why don't we deserve safer spaces and stuff like that? And then also there's been lots of publications around what is safe work online and what is the baseline for safety. The Fair Work Foundation in the Oxford University Institute of Fair Work, they have published a report that says online workspaces are not safe enough and platforms should do more to protect their workers. And then also there's, I think it's tomorrow, there's something coming out from the University of Amsterdam around platform policy and procedure, and how they're also, platforms like OnlyFans or Chatterbait are not protecting people enough from kind of this disparity of an algorithm and things like that. So I believe, yes, 10 years ago, it may not have been the appetite for it. Now we are starting to understand it, but in 10 years' time, it is my wish, my hope, my desire that Image Angel doesn't even need to exist, because we should all start getting the understanding that you don't do that. And to do that would be, oh my God, I can't believe anyone would do that. It's almost like the smoking ban, or anything that changes the way society works. It's difficult in the beginning and it's hard for us to understand, but then once we've done it for a few years, we're like, I can't believe we used to do that. How did we used to go about just smoking in planes? Like, what the hell?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or masks during COVID. I can't even remember doing that anymore. It was like the most natural thing. And although now I welcome it when people at doctors' practices wear their masks, so we learned from it, definitely. And that's beautiful. You've got it's an organic progression. You don't just say, oh, I want to make all my money with this company. I would like to in the future see people just understanding and not having to have these procedures in place, although it would still be great everywhere. What on top I feel is perhaps happening parallel is you're bringing everyone to the table. You're bringing all these different people, from the CEOs of, the tech people to the sex workers. I love when people are seen as people. I hate all you're a sex worker, which some people will already, if they hear that, they might have a negative connotation, or their stigma, or their stereotype, or their, whatever it might be. So you're bringing all these people to the table, which again will cause in the long term for an equal. It won't be you're a sex worker, you have a job, that's it. And when I'm stood there in front of the school and I'm talking to people, it won't be, oh, it's a sex worker. It's like, oh, how's work going? Oh yeah, really busy at the moment. This neutral space will exist, and I celebrate that as well, because I feel we're very far away from that still, but all these little steps feed into that movement.
I think as well was like with the growth of things like Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, and those kind of service for money type of roles, as well as like the online role, and also the role of like the influencer, and how you can actually get paid to do an advert because of your face and your body. So your body has monetary worth, and you're being sexy, and you're using your body to ride your bike to deliver the food. We're now starting to understand, oh, maybe we can do those things, and online systems are a way of doing that, and they're a means to an end. So we're using these kind of examples of these people doing things to say, well, they deserve a safe working environment. Like Uber users and app users need to be safe, as well as the driver needs to be safe, to make sure that they're safe from harm. And like the Uber Eats drivers, deliverers need to make sure they're working the right amount of hours. And are they good? Are we all okay here? And now we're moving into the sex work as well. It's like, yes, because when we bring all these stakeholders together, and through policy panels and building and adding input, and we show that these things work, we have this advocacy, academic integrity, we have all these things, and we're all united towards this common goal, which is just having a good day. We just want to have a great day and earn a bit of money doing the thing that works for us. Like a little bit of autonomy, having a great day, going to work and going, I didn't get hurt. It all worked great.
Exactly. And sometimes it all sounds so complicated, where at the end of the day it's just so simple, right? We all just want to have a good life, be happy, be safe, and earn our money, and not fear somebody else taking that away from us.
Absolutely.
So what are the next steps? So you're just before launch, did I understand that correctly?
Yes. We're doing a couple of kind of small pilots and basically testing the capacity. How fast and how far can we go? Because we have extremely big names who want to speak to us. If you can think of the biggest name in pornography, particularly, because that's where this harm is mostly happening, it's in pornography and kind of the social media user-to-user sharing, content sharing apps. Think of the big names. We are either already in communication with them, or they want to be in communication with us. So we're getting there. But the thing I want is to go slow and go great, like be amazing at every step of the way. And so we know that when we get to those big names, we're saying we can absolutely provide you and your users with this safe environment, instead of just like grow big, go fast, make a load of money, get in and get out. That is not what we're here for. We're here for slow, steady growth that is working and right for the people on the other side of it. Because if I can say, hand on heart, I'm here to protect your imagery, and we go into a site like, the big ones, and we don't do what we say, I'm just as bad as every other content protection system that never worked, or takedown service that says, yeah, we can take your stuff down, and never actually do it. I'm here to do shit, make shit happen, and I can't do that if I go too fast. So we are slowly doing these pilots, testing the speed, testing the robustness, and improving on every step, so that when we do get to those big ones, when we're really protecting those big people, it's smooth, it's ready.
I wish you all the luck, all the best, all the patience, all the energy, all the
I need it.
No niggles, no hiccups. I mean, they're bound to happen, but I think in this space at the moment that you're moving in, that is very revolutionary, that is new, that is big, I think people will be very forgiving if those infancy ouchies happen at the beginning, but I wish you all the best for it, because it will change the way it all works, for real. Do you want to just for a second talk about the other side of your life, and is being a dominatrix for you then a balance? Do you find is your life at the moment more towards this tech area, towards the where are you at?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I'm doing. It's exhausting, and like I don't want to put across this message that everything is fine and dandy, and you know what, you're not doing enough, you listeners, and you're not doing enough because I'm doing it all and it's amazing. I'm exhausted. Like I'm exhausted. My family are concerned. You know, like you're not getting enough hot food. You're not you know, getting enough sleep. I'm exhausted. My poor husband, love him. He's incredible. He said to me yesterday, if you're okay, we're okay. And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. But you know why I'm okay? Because you're here and you're caring for me. I'm so lucky to have him by my side. I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing without him, because he's looking after the kids and he's, you know, doing the grocery shopping and doing the laundry and stuff like that. Like, it's really tough out here doing this. And I wouldn't also be where I am if it weren't for my amazing fans, because they're so patient. You know, it takes me like a whole day to respond to a message on the platforms that I'm using, because I'm so busy like doing this and I'm running off in these different places. So without their care and patience, and without their, you know, interest in this succeeding as well, I wouldn't be where I am. So it may be like, it may seem to the viewer that it's me doing all this amazing stuff, but I have Ailey, who is my amazing COO. She is organizing my entire life. There are moments where I don't even know what I'm doing, and she'll go, yeah, that's so-and-so, and you need to tell them this. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, all right then.
Like Meryl Streep.
No, honestly, we go to the fence and she whispers in my ear. And anytime I remember someone, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I remembered by myself, but my brain is just going 100 miles an hour. I've got Fads, who is just beyond my most amazing helper, and I wouldn't be where I am today without his help. Like, it's not just me. This is a movement of so many people behind me who are with me in this. And even the people who I'm engaging with on the online platforms, who are saying, like, sending a $10 tip, like, you know, make sure you spend this on Image Angel. Oh, don't worry, I'm investing so much into this. But I have the buy-in of all the people around me, which is just so fucking cool. And it is because I'm a dominatrix that I have the ability to do what I'm doing now, because there is no way I could do a, you know, 9-to-5 job in a, you know, normal office, let's say, and be able to still do what I'm doing with Image Angel. So because sex work gave me that freedom to be able to pick and choose my hours, to be able to earn quite well at certain points in the month or certain points in my career, I have then been able to reinvest into doing something like this. So how dare we say that sex work is not empowering or not for the greater good? Look what it has achieved.
Yeah,
you know, how can it be anti-feminist if it's literally building protection software for women? So anyway,
absolutely.
that's my rant.
No, I absolutely love it. This is the type of empowerment that I wish people would hear and see more, because, you know, you're not sat there as a dominatrix in any kind of cliche, and that's what we need to be seeing. We need to be seeing more of these people like yourself, and the passion that you bring, and the passion you bring to both sides of your job. And, you know, major shout out to your husband and to everybody else around you, because they're the allies that we need in these kinds of movements, revolutions almost. I think I've used that word quite a few times.
It does feel like a revolution. It does feel like we're on the brink of something really big.
It does. But I will never forget, and this is completely out of this romantic, and I will never forget a story of yours I saw where you had, I think it was an Excel sheet of the cages and the amount of days. And I saw that and my heart just went, yes, This is a woman who knows what she's doing. And I know
Yeah.
even when you're in the eye of that tornado, I know somewhere someone has a list. If it's not you, someone has an Excel sheet, and there
Yeah.
is method in the madness. And
You know what? There's nothing unsexy about a spreadsheet. Like, the amount of stuff I have in spreadsheets, like whether that's how long someone's been in chastity, or the amount of kinks and things that we're covering with one person, and then I know that person really interested in that. It helps to keep my brain organized. Yeah,
absolutely.
Excel is sexy.
Excel is so sexy. That'll be the title of this episode. People will not know what's coming.
Well, look, if sex work is work and business is business and sex work is business, well, what is the absolute epitome of business? It's Excel spreadsheets. Excel is sex work.
It really is. Shared document. Then
Yeah.
we're going into spicy waters.
Yeah, the
Who knows
sexual
what?
tension of being in the spreadsheet at the same time.
Isn't it? Oh my God, who's going to make the first move? And what is it going to be? Oh my goodness. No, absolutely. And it was fascinating to see you, everything that you said there on stage and beyond, and even just our short conversation. These are the conversations everybody should be having right now. All these words, I always say language transports so much, and language can change so much. And if people understand what is NCII, what is image abuse, what is, even just consensual, non-consensual, I feel that's only really come about in the last 5 years. So all these things, they will contribute to it being normal.
Yeah,
and everybody using them. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Madelaine, I am so full of energy and wanting to change something. What is something you mentioned before, your fans and the people that follow you and contributing? What is something everybody, no matter how small, no big, can do to help this mission?
So we need platforms to know about this happening. They need to know that they can add this technology into their systems. They can go to imageangel.co.uk/request, and they can send an email to the platform that they work or play on, or they could send a tweet, or they could just @imageangel_ on most of the major social networking platforms, and just let the platform that you work or play on know that this is the new technology. And if they're not doing this, they're not doing enough.
I know a handful that I will be sharing this with here in Germany, because the discussions are frequent of, I don't want to send a message. Can we change to WhatsApp? Where I'm like, well, is WhatsApp really better in that sense? So, maybe we start where we're having the conversations initially. What can we do beyond? What are maybe you give all your platforms where people can find you. And also, maybe people have been listening today and thinking, oh, I love the sound of her. Where can I find her in the dominatrix role? Where are people able to access you and perhaps also contribute financially?
So my website is countessdiamond.co.uk, and all of my links are on there. And watch out for scammers, because there's loads of them on Instagram and TikTok and things like that. So yeah, countessdiamond.co.uk, that's the best place to go. And then from there, you'll find your way, I'm sure.
Amazing. Great. All this will be in the show notes as well for everybody who is listening and couldn't remember it because they were so engrossed in our conversation. Madelaine, to finish it off, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
I think everything in my life was pretty damn good. Like if it didn't happen that way, it wouldn't be what it is now. So I'm happy with the way everything's gone. I wouldn't ever go back and be like, don't push the red button. But my advice to an 18-year-old who has yet to walk their own path, I would say to go where there isn't a path. and kind of leave a little trail and say, come this way, this is the better way. Even though it's hard, even though you're hacking through brambles to get there, create your own path. And if someone says, no, that's not how we do it, or that'll never work, or oh, that's just the way it is, to challenge that and know that doesn't have to always be that way.
That's lovely. That is the way I wish to always go forward. And that's what I tell my children all the time as well.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Anything you would like to share to round it off, to finish it up?
No,
Anything
just
on your mind?
Thank you so much. I think it's important if we say that if anyone has been the victim of non-consensual intimate image abuse, there are lots and lots of ways that they can get help. And I would recommend they get in touch with the Revenge Porn Helpline in the UK, but also the Image Angel website has a list of resources worldwide. So anywhere in the world, they can find resources that are local to them if they go on the resources page.
Amazing. I will put that in the notes as well so that there's direct access to that.
Cool. Awesome.
Madelaine, thank you so much for being you. Thank you for doing what you do. And I hope to see you, or rather, I can't wait to see you worldwide in all the press outlets, making sure that Image Angel is implemented everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.